Hey, what's up, everybody? Thunderfist 1978. Excuse me a second. Coming at you here on a Thursday evening. Hope everybody's had a great day so far. So before I get started today, I want to give a big thank you to Jay Lawler, who I'm guessing is a fan of Jerry the King Lawler. Thank you very much for following a few hours ago. It really means a lot to me. So last night, we got closer and closer to finishing Snake's Revenge, but we still haven't finished it quite yet. By the way, a note on the PS3 front. The good news is I tested out my new HDMI splitter, and it looks like it's going to be successful in allowing us to stream from PS3. Now, the bad news is I was not able to run portable ops via the PS3, so I'll need to try to get it running somehow on the PlayStation TV if we're going to stream it. But the good news is we had to do that anyway for Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 4. So we are on track to stream those when the time comes. In the meantime, let's get started with Snake's Revenge. First comes the very long password that we have to put in. At this point, it's all a matter of learning where the pitfalls are and learning our way around them. Unfortunately, we have to do quite a bit to regain our ground every time we fall down a pitfall, because those instant deaths put us so far back, farther back than the game should ever cause you to have to go back. Well, that's in my personal opinion. Let's see, 99T. Period. And I can't drive 55. All right, here we go. So once again, we are on 6-star rank. So we can carry quite a large number of rations, bullets, oxygen tanks, all that good kind of stuff, which we'll need to at this stage of the game. So our first stop is going to be the second floor here, where we'll want to pick up explosives and rations. And also oxygen tanks. So we can carry up to 12 oxygen tanks. Let's go ahead and start with those. We'll need at least 9 of them to get through the underwater portion of the rightmost path. Or else we're going to start losing health and we'll have to dig into our rations. But if we have 12 of them, then we definitely will not have to do that. Very comforting to know that we can definitely carry enough oxygen tanks at this point, though, that our rations will be safe from at least that. Doesn't mean we'll be safe from using them because of battle situations, but you know, we'll deal with that as the battles come. So we can carry 9 more cans of rations. And we also... Okay, there. Good. We got 1. In the meantime, we also want to get... want to gather up 40 explosives, I think, is what we can carry now. and we can get that in 8 pickups. Then after this, we'll just focus on gathering our rations together. And we'll also go ahead and put the boots on, so that when we get to the when we get through the leftmost path for the side-scrolling sequence, we won't have to worry about the nails. I gotta say though, the nails and bullets at this point, they do way too much damage. I know I've said this before, but the damage everything does has got to be tied to your rank. As in, the higher your rank, the more damage everything seems to do. Which the only reason I can think of for that is the fact that you can carry more rations. It's got to be a way to kind of balance that out. Or at least so the developers felt was the case. I think we've got 13 cans of rations now. We can have 5 more. And even though we're not quite having the same drop rate as in the previous building, they're still dropping them pretty regularly. And as before, we're gonna go to the second floor after we take the rightmost pathway in the side-scrolling area. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna max out our flare bombs and our grenades. And then after that, we're gonna go directly to the top floor. Which we weren't doing that before, but it looks like we don't have a choice but to go through it earlier than I was expecting to. Because that one area with the 2 pitfalls, it looks like there's no navigating the pitfalls, at least not the way I was trying to do it. You know, I was thinking if you were quick enough, you knew where the pitfalls were, you should be able to get past them. But we tried that earlier, like, we did not hesitate at all, and the pitfall still swallowed us up. So, that particular room, it's a no-go trying to navigate that. Now, the good news is, that room, all it has is card 7, which we got card 7 already. So, we really don't have any reason to go into that room. Yeah, we just don't have any reason to go into that room, at least not the way we would be going into it to get card 7. So the only things we can get going into, and it looks like we are full on rations now. Yeah. So the next thing we want is we want to refill our truth gas supply. And to do that, we're going to take the path on the left here. I keep forgetting that we have to deal with these machines and not with soldiers. Alright, cool. Nice. Sometimes that machine will start right as you're coming in. And there's almost no way to avoid getting hit. You want to just absolutely hammer on the B button just in case that happens. All right. Nah. Well, still, we've had a pretty good run so far. Oops. Part of me wants to go ahead and use a ration. But there's another part of me that's saying, no, wait a little bit. Alright, we made it. We've got the boots equipped. So, now once we come off the elevator, we'll go ahead and use a ration. And then we'll fight to get one more. Other than that, the only thing we need here is the truth gas. Which we want card 5 to get into the room where that is. Alright, cool. Extra ammo is always welcome. And we can carry 7 canisters of truth gas. I don't know that there's any more commanders that we can gas, but you never know. It always helps to be prepared. And of course, if we game over and find out there's no more commanders, then we don't have to come this way anymore. Alright, cool. So we are once again full on rations. Let's go ahead and put the hard sole boots back on. So I'm going to keep trying to get portable ops working on the PlayStation TV, but unless I'm able to do that, we'll probably just have to skip it for now. I really don't want to, but we may not have a choice because that really seems to be my only option as far as playing it on the TV where it can be streamed easily. Nice! That worked out better than I hoped. Or better than I thought it would. Crap. It's pretty much a guarantee that I'll have to use a ration here. Should have used it earlier. Well. Hey, Matty O'Shea, how you doing? Yep. First death of the night. But hey, it's all trial and error at this point. We'll get that rhythm going. It won't take us too long, I don't think. Oops. X J G. I'm doing well also. Got rained on a little bit at work, but that's the worst of it. Yeah, it really is. And I'm really happy to see more people popping up and saying that they like this game. You know, I've heard so many people say the opposite, that I really thought I was going to end up in the minority as far as enjoying streaming this game. All right, let's get going. So we are in the we're in the final building, and we've got a lot of the items that we need. The main things we want to build up on are our weapons, rations, of course, oxygen tanks, and truth gas. Although I believe we're at the highest rank we can be. Just pulling this back of the day. Oh man, I agree with that assessment. This is, you know, I even told, I even said not too long ago that that some people think this is the worst Metal Gear game there is, and I said I highly disagree with that the true worst Metal Gear game that there is Metal Gear on the NES. It's not that that's a horrible game, it's just, but they put stuff in it that shouldn't have been there, like those mazes that they don't give you any clue how to navigate them. Those aren't even in the MSX version. And for crying out loud, there's not even a Metal Gear. You end up bombing a supercomputer. I mean, what is that? Okay. You know, at least in the MSX version, you actually destroy a Metal Gear at the end. But yeah, the main reason I decided to play this game on stream is because I've heard that glitch the floor to get the computer on the NES one. I don't know about that. I think you actually can get into the computer room through conventional means. Although I've heard the game may not let you in. I'm not sure on that if you haven't talked to, if Petrovich hasn't told you how to destroy it. I know you can't destroy the computer unless Petrovich has told you how to do it. That much is true. Speaking of explosives, let's gather some here. We'll be able to carry up to 40 of them. And we get 5 per pickup. I've done it once or twice. But the main thing for me is those freaking mazes. I'm sure you know the ones I'm talking about. It's like the game gives you no clue how you're supposed to navigate them. It's almost like Simon's Quest, like you have to actually be told what to do. Like people back in the day might have either had to get Nintendo Power or perhaps call a gameplay counselor there or at Konami to have somebody tell them how to navigate the mazes. The most maze-like area in the MSX version is the desert, and the only reason you'd have any trouble navigating that is if you don't have the compass. Which there's a POW who will even tell you not to try to navigate the desert without it. But, you know, at least in this game, there's nothing like that. Almost every boss, you can pretty much figure out what you're supposed to do. Like, I called Nintendo's gameplay counselors for quite a bit of help with this game. But, you know, they told me you have to use mines to destroy the tank. Well, you can kind of figure that out. Because the first place you can even get mines is the area where the tank is. And you know, as far as beating the final boss, again, there's an area where you can find out how to do that. So there's really not a whole lot in this game that's like super cryptic. I mean, it's tough. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you can figure just about everything out that you need to do. Which to me, that's how a good game should be. Of course, we don't want to break out the knife just yet. Well, see, here's the thing. back then it wasn't a 900 number. It was a 206 area code number. So it was a toll call. And a lot of the times I did get permission to do that. But yeah, I absolutely did not call them ever when they switched over to the 900 number. I don't even know how much the 900 number cost to call. But I do know that the original 206 number, which I still remember it. I don't know if they still use this number, but I remember back in the day, it was 20. Let's see. That was before the 1-800. I never knew they switched. It was $2 a minute. Oh wow. No, I absolutely did not pay that much. When I called, it was just a standard toll-free number, or not toll-free, but standard long-distance call if you didn't live in Washington. Well, that section of Washington, I should say. But yeah, I remember the number was area code 206-885-7529, and I think you can even enter that number. Either that or their 800 number. I think it's the 800 number you put in Punch Out. You put it in as a passcode, and the game will play a busy signal, which is hilarious. I think it's their old consumer service number, and then in the 90s, when they released the second Punch Out game with Mr. Dream, you could also enter their current, well, for that time, consumer service number, which was, I believe it was 1-800-255 3700. I'm wanting to say it's something like that. If you enter in their second number, then you'll get another busy signal. But no, I never called any of the company's game information lines whenever they use 900 numbers. Wow. I thought I was gonna take a hit from the machine. I do not like having to navigate grenades like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. No. There we go. I know I have a copy of the issue that my name was printed in Nintendo Power, and that it's got the consumer service number on the back. That happened back in 1992. Okay, cool. Yeah, I made it into the Power Players section in 92. Well, I kept trying to get in Nintendo Power like as far back as 1989, because I know I had some friends who said they were going to write into Nintendo and let them know that that they had beaten Contra and they wanted to get their name in Nintendo Power back when it was called NES Achievers. But I didn't find out until a little later in the process. Like, I'd sent him several letters about games I'd beaten, but I didn't realize you actually had to send in a photograph of the ending for it to count. And then one day I finally, I don't know how many pictures I took, but pictures of a bunch of endings. Like, endings I remember specifically were Mega Man 3, Castlevania 3, Double Dragon 3, The Little Mermaid, so on and so forth. And then on that particular letter, I got a response back saying we put your name in consideration for our Power Players section. Yeah, exactly. But that's what you had to do to get Nintendo Power. You had to take a photo of the game ending or of your score if it was a game like say Tetris or Dr. Mario, some kind of game that either you didn't beat or nobody was beating. Yeah, agreed. You know, that was the first Mega Man game I ever beat with no deaths. I've only done that a few times. I think like I've done it like 4 times total. But yeah, that's one that's dear to my heart as well. I think I was visiting a friend of mine and he was like asleep or something, and I was using his NES with my cartridge, and when I did my deathless run. If I ever stream Mega Man 3 again, I might go for a deathless run. No doubt about it. I definitely needed that. Exactly, yeah. But what the hey? One of these days I'll do it and actually get it documented. But yeah, I think the first game I ever beat with no deaths was Little Mermaid on the NES. At least that's the earliest one I can remember. And then later on, I went on to do that with games like Mega Man 3, like I said. Double Dragon 3 is another one that I beat deathless. One time I did it without even equipping the nunchucks and playing as Billy the entire run. Nobody sees it, then it never happened. Unless maybe there's an achievement for it and you can show that you unlocked it. Which, unfortunately, with the original NES, there's nothing like that. That's something I really like about modern consoles. Yeah, it's brutally difficult. But, to an extent, I kind of like that about the game. Because it gives you more of a sense of an accomplishment when you finally take the game down. I remember renting it when I was in 7th grade. Because it came out in 1991, and that's about how old I was at the time. And then, during the summer of my 7th grade year, we had a video store in town that sold their copy of it, and I ended up getting it. And by the time the summer was over, I had beaten it. And I remember there was one guy at my school who was just about as big a gamer as I was. And like at the start of the year, he wasn't at school, so you know, we thought maybe he'd gone to a different school that year or something. But he came in shortly after the beginning of the year, and I told him, hey man, I wanna trade some stories on accomplishments that we did this year. I told him, yeah, I've done a few things, but I want to hear about some of yours. He's like, let me guess, one of yours was beating Double Dragon 3, wasn't it? And sure enough, I had done that. But yeah, it's like, it seemed kind of surprising to me that that the game had only been out for I think a few months, and a video store was already getting rid of theirs. Summer school days before the internet. Yeah, this friend of mine and I, we haven't seen each other in a good 20 years or so, but not too long ago we got back in contact. So hopefully we're gonna get together at some point and maybe do some gaming like we used to do in the good old days. I remember we lent games back and forth. Like he borrowed my shoot, what game was it? I know two games I borrowed from him were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and Dr. Chaos. And then he borrowed my NES Advantage and make a record. That would be fun. I don't know if he'd be down to being seen on stream, but if he says yes to that, hey, the more the merrier. I've never actually had anybody else on my stream. That it would actually be fun if he was the first one that we did that with. Come on, dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blew my mind when I could shoot ducks. Oh, you mean Duck Hunt? I don't know if you knew this, but just about everybody at some point has wished that they could shoot the dog in Duck Hunt. Well, I don't know if you knew about this, but you actually can do that in the arcade version, which is called Versus Duck Hunt. There's a bonus round that sometimes appears in that game. And yes, it's only in the arcade version you can do that. But what happens is every so many levels a bonus round will come up. And basically what happens is there's a bush and all these ducks will fly out from behind the bush. And you just have to basically shoot as many ducks as you can. Well, every now and then, the dog will jump out of the bush. And if you're feeling malicious, or if you fire a little too quickly for your own good, you can hit the dog. And if so, he falls down. In Arcade NES, you can shoot the dog. I never played that because I owned that one. Yeah, it's Versus Duck Hunt is what it's called. I think some people may actually make NES cartridges of it. I know back in the day, I think it was Retro USB made them. But yeah, if you shoot the dog, he falls first off, and then he comes limping onto the screen with crutches, and he's got one foot bandaged up, and his face is all black from where he got shot, and then he starts barking and he points up with his crutch like this, and where he's pointing to says, "Ouch, shoot the ducks, not me." But yeah, it's only in the arcade version where you can do that. Now, the versus versions of the games, they're always a lot harder in some way or another than the NES version. Probably to get you to put more money into it. Like I know the... Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've always wanted to own a red tent machine. I think one of those would be cool to have. And then having like a standard Unisystem machine where it just had one game and have like a light gun on it for light gun games. That would be really cool. I have a few coin-op machines in my collection, but only a few. Like, I think I've got like 3. Yeah, they are. Like, I'll give you an example. NES Super Mario Brothers, I'm sure you're familiar with most of the levels by now. But if you play the Versus version, some of the levels are like totally different. And in just about every instance, like even if the level designs themselves are pretty much the same, the items are switched around, their locations are switched around. So you can't just go through it and just assume that every item you know will, or every place you know where there's an item, you'll be able to get it. Yeah. But yeah, I'll give you another example. Versus Castlevania. Look at the NES version. When you're on the first couple of levels and you take a hit, you only lose 2 units of health. In the Versus version, you lose 4. So in the first 2 levels, 4 hits is the most you can take before you die. Whereas you can take up to 8 in the NES version. Without getting the meat, of course. And once you hit stage 3 in the Versus version, yeah, that much is true. I actually beat the Versus Castlevania Deathless a couple years ago on the PS4. I didn't do it on stream, but I did record it via the PS4 share function, and I have the video on my YouTube channel. Yeah, it's because you take more damage in that version. But yeah, starting at stage 3, you take 6 units of damage for every hit you take. So 3 hits and you're dead. Unless you find meat, of course. And then the one game I really haven't noticed much, if any, difference in is Gradius. I don't know if there's any difference between the NES and Versus version of that. But the little I've played of it so far, I really haven't noticed any. And thank goodness, because that game's plenty hard enough as it is. In fact, I've heard that the reason that, for the Konami code being in that game was the original creator of Gradius wasn't able to get through the game when he was playtesting it. Yeah, they are. But see, I've no death run NES Gradius twice. One time I did it in 1998, and then I did it again in 2001. But that's one of those games where if you don't know death run it, it's going to be really hard for you to finish. I wouldn't go that far, not by any stretch of the imagination. I do play competitively on some games, though. But most of them are arcade titles. In fact, every time I go to the Galloping Ghost arcade, I try to find a game to play at least somewhat competitively. Like, if it's not for a world record, I might challenge the current house high. which basically means the highest score that anybody's gotten there at the Galloping Ghost. Okay, good. All right, Jennifer, I'll listen to you. The commander is located on the top level of this base. Okay, let's go ahead and equip the knife this time. Not from the Midwest, but you've heard about it. Yeah, it's if you've heard amazing stuff about it, believe just about everything you've heard. It's incredible. And I make the trip there once a year. And my next trip is coming up in just over 2 weeks. So from, let's see, from the 19th to the 27th, don't expect me to be streaming because I'm going to be up in Chicago getting my game on. Okay. I think we got to come over this way. I'm a little nervous here because there's pitfalls. One wrong step can literally mean game over. Well, see, they actually have cameras at the arcade, and like if you go for a world record or a high score, they record it, and if you have a thumb drive with you, you can ask for a copy of the recording. I've done that many times. Okay, good. So it wasn't for nothing that we got the truth gas. Our weapons are ready. I don't like the sound of that. Oh, wait, we need card 2. Yeah, the worst part of this area is the pitfalls. Case in point. I've got like 1 or 2 games in mind that I'm gonna try to set high scores on. But and I let the second in command at the arcade know which ones those are, and he said he'll try to make sure that that they're on the floor, because sometimes they change their games around, because I mean they've only got so much space, and they've got over like 800 games on the floor now, so they gotta juggle them around sometimes. But yeah, what they do is every week they put a new game on the floor, and they don't tell anyone what it's going to be, which they refer to it as Monday Mystery. And they hold a small competition that day on everyone who wants to try the game. I've actually competed in 4 of their Monday Mystery tournaments, and I've won all the ones I've competed in. Doesn't mean I'm the best gamer there by any stretch of the imagination. I just happen to be the victor those days. But I'll tell you what, they've got some seriously talented gamers there. Matter of fact, the second in command who I mentioned, his name's Pete Hahn. He got inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame no, not last year. It was the year before that he got inducted. For accomplishments he he got in 2000, I think it was. And I believe one of them was his Contra scores. Pete is seriously skilled at Contra. I think he has the world record on arcade hardware. A little over 1.7 million, I think his score is. And it really meant a lot for him to compliment me on my own Contra playing, because I put a video up playing it on PS4 where I beat the original arcade Contra deathless. I've only ever done it one time, but he took a look at the video and he congratulated me on it, and I was like, man, hearing that from him, one of the top Contra players in the world probably, really made me feel good. And then another guy who's probably another one of the top Contra players complimented me on it. Yeah, I've once CC'd it a number of times, but I've only ever done it deathless once. But yeah, Pete Hahn and another guy named Martin Alessi both chimed in on it. Martin Alessi was actually in one of the secret tricks, codes, and strategies tapes that were released back in 1989. I don't know if you remember those, but like it had members of the U.S. National Video Game Team, I think is what they called themselves. Yeah, there were like 3 tapes in the series. The first one had Jim Alley, Don Nauert, and Shane Olivo. But Shane was only ever in that first one. And then for the second one, it was just Don and Jim. And then Jim was gone after the second one. For the third one, that's when Martin came in along with a guy named David White. And I'd heard that Don quit the team shortly before that tape was released. So even though he does a few tricks in it, you don't see his face. It's like they show his eyes toward the beginning of the tape when they're introducing everyone, but that's all you see of him. Vaguely remember those. I've never seen one in person. I always thought it was a myth. No, it's not a myth. The first one I ever watched was the third one, which is the one that Martin's in. And I actually met Martin in 2018 because he still lived in the Chicago area at that time. And I'd networked with a few people at the Galloping Ghost, and actually I made really good friends with this one guy there, and he gave me some Twin Galaxies trading cards, and one of the ones he gave me was Martin's signature card, and as soon as I saw it, I said, "Wait a minute, I remember this guy. He was on the secret tricks, codes, and strategies tape." And I reached out to him and I let him know who had given me his signature card, and as soon as I told him who it was, he sent me a Facebook friend request, and he said, well, any friend of his is a friend of mine. And then like a few years later, he actually came out to the Galloping Ghost while I was there so we could meet. That may be the only time I ever meet him, but at least I got to meet him once. And not only was he part of the team, he also was an editor for GamePro at one. No, not GamePro. It was EGM. He was an editor for EGM. So yeah, it's been fun times up there, and I can't wait to go back and see my friends from there. Yeah, it really was. I remember I was more of a GamePro reader, but I remember when I bought a couple of issues of EGM back in '93, I was like, man, this is some pretty good stuff. Like, I remember they had the Street Fighter 2 comics in like March to May of '93. think it was. And I remember seeing my first review of Popeye on the SNES in EGM. Oh, Sushi X. Yeah. He was such an enigma. I think what it was, Sushi X wasn't like one person, I don't think. It was like several different people who wrote under that name. Yeah, have you ever played the SNES version of Popeye? I actually streamed that game here a few months back. I have a Super Famicom cartridge of it. It was released in Japan, but never here in North America, although it was planned. It was gonna be... Yeah, it was... The first time I ever saw anything on it was in an issue of EGM, and it was supposed to be called Super Popeye. But, initially it had a mechanic kind of like the Game Boy Popeye game. Well, Popeye 2, I should say. Because there is another Popeye game that was released in Japan, but it was released by Sigma and plays very, very differently. That one's more of a maze game, whereas Popeye 2 is a side-scrolling platformer. And yeah, I have both the Game Boy Popeye games, and I have them installed here on the Retro Freak. So streaming them is very much a possibility, and I probably will stream them at some point. But yeah, the first time I ever saw anything on Super Popeye was in I think it was the March issue of EGM. I was actually on spring break at the time. Yeah, there's been a few Popeye games over the years. That's the main one that people remember, I think. But actually, that Popeye game was one of the first games I ever owned. When I got my very first console, it was a ColecoVision. I got it on Christmas Day of 1985. And waiting under the tree with it were Donkey Kong, Popeye, and Mousetrap. The only one of those I had never played was Mousetrap. I was well familiar with Donkey Kong, well familiar with Popeye, because I played both of those in the arcade back then. Yeah, I got started with video games. Yeah, Mousetrap is an awesome game. Glad to see somebody else here who really likes it a lot. To me, my three favorite Pac-Man knockoffs of all time, and I hate to call them knockoffs, because I'm basically calling them that because they're not Pac-Man games, but they use the same play style. Are Mousetrap, Ladybug, and Trog. Ah, you know about it through ColecoVision as well. That's cool. Well, guess what? Galloping Ghost Arcade actually has an arcade game. That's right. And one thing I really like about Mousetrap is that you're not confined to go to the form where you can attack the cats as soon as you... It sure is. There sure is. But it's very hard to find, apparently. I've only ever seen 2 cabinets of it in my life. One of them is at the Galloping Ghost, and the other was at an arcade called the Place Retro Arcade, which used to be in Cincinnati. I went there in 2015 and played theirs. Man, the place was awesome too. In fact, Doc Mack, who's the owner of Galloping Ghost Arcade, he and I talked about the owner one day, Kerry Cheney, who is such a great guy. he even has his own Twin Galaxies card. So obviously he's been involved with video games for a long time. In fact, the first time I went into the place, I took a video, and basically I was just showing people what games they had and all that, and he watched me as I was recording, and after I was done recording, he gave me a bunch of Twin Galaxies cards, including his own. He wanted to give me one of Billy Mitchell, but he didn't have one, at least not a signature card. But it made me feel good what he told me. He said, when I was watching you film your video, I don't like to generally tell where I'm from, but I am in the Eastern time zone. I will say that much. But yeah, so he told me that he saw that I had a lot of passion for video games, and he said he really wished he saw more of that, which that made me feel really good to hear him say that. Which it's true. I do have a lot of passion for video games. A lot of it because I got started on them so early. I don't know exactly what it was. I guess something about the lights on the screen really captivated me. That and the fact that it wasn't like watching TV, where you were just limited to just watching what went on the screen. With video games, you could actually get involved. You could determine the fate of these characters, which was unique. And I was really drawn to that. But yeah, back when I got interested in video games, nobody in my family was interested in them. Nobody owned a gaming console. So my first experiences playing video games were on the arcade cabinets that I saw around. And of course, my first experiences were not in arcades. It was like going to the local grocery store, or maybe the gas station or something. Because back in the 80s, I'm sure you've heard this, but video games could literally be found anywhere. I mean, I'm talking, I remember a pharmacy that was right next to a grocery store in my area. The first thing you saw when you walked into the pharmacy was a Mr. Do machine. If you could find one there, where couldn't you find them? But yeah, it's, you know, those are the days that I really, really miss. Parents owned a 2600. That was intro into games. Born in the early 80s. Yes, they were. They really were. My first experiences at arcades, it started at this one particular arcade that was in the next town over. That town, I think they might have had just one arcade to start, but they ended up having two when all was said and done. And their other arcade was like the most popular one in the area. I remember in my senior year, my senior yearbook, there was a picture of a girl at the arcade playing one of the games, which it makes me sad to look at that picture and think that arcade's not around anymore. But yeah, we had 3 arcades in my area. One of them, I remember it being in kind of a haunted house looking building. It was really neat looking. Like picture the Scooby-Doo cartoons from the 60s. Like, no, what, I don't know if it was Scooby-Doo or if it was Captain Caveman. One of those two, where when they were transitioning from one scene to another, you would see this close-up of this haunted house where the camera would zoom in toward a window. That's almost what the building looked like. Unfortunately, I never got to go inside it. And I have yet to find any pictures of that building. First arcade was Dig Dug. It was at a pizza parlor in Connecticut. That's cool. Yeah, we had a pizza parlor here back in the early 2000s that had a Super Pac-Man cocktail machine. I used to like to play on that. But if you ask me the first oh yeah. But yeah, my first arcade game, generally speaking, I'll say was Star Castle, because that's the game that I have the earliest vivid memories playing. It could have been one of the Pac-Man games, but I believe it was Star Castle. And if you're unfamiliar with that game, it's it has controls very similar to Asteroids. The only difference is, yeah, I was playing that game at 4 years old, and in some instances was able to destroy the cannon in the center of the rings. I could only do that once a game, but there were times when I did it at 4 years old. And it's like my grandmother would either have me sitting in a shopping cart, or she would hold me up to the controls so I could reach them. Oh, really? Huh. I never heard that's why there's no Star Castle on the 2600. Now, I do have Star Castle for the Vectrex. That's the only Vectrex game I own, with the exception of the game that's built into it. But that was one I absolutely had to get first, because of all the memories I have playing it at the local grocery store. That's where I would play that. But yeah, then of course, you know, along came games like Pac-Man, Popeye, Donkey Kong, so on and so forth. I played a lot of guy tried to port it over and couldn't. Oh. So there was actually an effort. And what they just made Yar's Revenge instead? Huh. I would think they would have been able to do it. I mean they pulled off Asteroids relatively okay for considering the hardware they were working on. Well, the one thing that I would think would have been really tough would have been the movement of the rings, because I remember all three of the rings would rotate around. I could see that being tough to get right. Ah, that makes sense. Now, see, the Vectrex wouldn't really have that problem because that's vector-based, which is the hardware that the original arcade game runs on. It's on a vector monitor. You can only move 2 sprites on a 2600. Ah, okay. The commander is located on the top level of the space. Well, plus you got to think about it. You know, it's like those rings are pretty big, would be really big sprites to move, I would imagine. And with all three of them rotating in different directions at the same time, I could see that being tricky. Oops. What am I doing? I'm wearing the boots trying to push that thing when I should have been wearing the power armor. Okay, card 7. Okay, good. We're full on explosives. Ha! You missed. Let's see. So we know if we try to go straight to the left, we're gonna fall on a pitfall. We have workarounds now. They even have a homebrew. But I could see that. They've achieved quite a bit with those homebrews. I know I've got a homebrew of Reindeer Rescue, which was released via Atari Age back in 2005. Our weapons are ready. Which that game seems pretty impressive considering it's running on 2600 hardware. Ha. Oops. Okay, let's see here. Let's take a look at okay, we got 2 weak walls. Hey, Jupu, how you doing? Welcome in. I think we may be on the cusp of putting this one away. I know we got through some really nasty pitfall. Oh no. I hate these things with a burning passion. Yeah, sure, go right ahead. Okay. We'll take a rain check on that one. You can do it in basic now. You no longer need to do it in assembly anymore. Oh, that's cool. So, what will be the best way to play it in 2021? Okay, now what I'm gonna do when I get ready to stream Metal Gear Solid 1, I'm gonna stream it on the PS3. You can purchase it for the PS3 and the Vita. And I know if you're gonna stream with the PS3, you need an HDMI splitter, which I got my hands on one really recently. Oh, this is gonna be rough. I hate those platforms. Oops. It really is. See, we had to deal with those platforms. Oh, you don't own a PS3? Well, I think I could be mistaken, but I think the does the PlayStation Classic have that? I'm wanting to say it does. I have a PlayStation Classic, but it's been a while since I did anything with it. I know for a fact Intelligent Cube is on there. Yeah, those Frogger platforms are the bane of my existence. And I was hoping and praying that I was done with them after that tank level. You do have a fairly beefy PC. Well, just remember this. I don't want to give away too many spoilers here, but there does come a point where a character will say some information should be on the back of the CD case. What they're talking about is the case that the game came in. Just bear that in mind if you hear that. That's something that you're expected to do that on. Which there's a couple of instances like that. I actually have Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes on GameCube. It's too bad the Wii isn't like immediately HDMI or anything, or else I would stream the Twin Snakes off of that. Unfortunately, it looks like we'll have to use AV for probably. Well, actually, I'd probably need a whole different capture card for it, because I've noticed a lot of my older systems, even if I try workarounds, it doesn't matter. It does have an official PC release on GOG now, but I'm guessing you don't have any experience with it. I don't, but if that's available, by all means, go for it. But just bear in mind that for that part, you have to you'll want to have the original game's packaging, or maybe a scan of it. But yeah, the game does expect you to use that in order to get through the game. Yeah, well, actually, I do have a few games through GOG. Those being the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games. I have the original X-Wing on CD-ROM, and I remember playing that on the 3.5-inch discs on PC back in the day. Such a fun flight simulator. And they, like I said, they have both X-Wing and TIE Fighter, and I think they might also have X-Wing versus TIE Fighter as well. I could be wrong on that. That was the Stone Age. Remember when you had to do things like look up page such and such of the manual and type this word in this column of this paragraph, or you had to look up you had to look on a character sheet and find the one that matched the one that's on the screen and tell what its coordinate is. Yeah. I'll give you a good example of that. I have a copy of the original Terminator game for PC, and it came with a sheet like that. And stupid me went and misplaced the darn thing. Like I practically did that immediately, not realizing how important it was. And so many times I know of it. I got my heard of a lot of crap about Twin Snakes. I like it, to be honest. The gameplay's pretty good. It's Metal Gear Solid 1's story, but with Metal Gear Solid 2's gameplay. The only problem I ever really have with it is some of the dialogue that was changed. Got my first PC in 2000. Now, I got the first computer I ever owned was back in 1986. I got a Tandy TRS-80 color computer 2 for Christmas, and I have one again today. I had to get that one because not only do I remember playing a lot of good games on it, but it was my first ever experience of learning how to program with Extended Color Basic. Yeah, I have a TRS-80 with and I have all the programs with it now that I had when I was a kid. Matter of fact, I've got one in a box, but I think that one only has like 16K of memory. And one of the games I used to run on it requires 32K. But I think with the Color Computer 2, they only had like 16 and 64K. Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you some of the games I remember playing back then. I remember playing games like Color Baseball. Then there was a game called Androne. Androne was the very first Wolfenstein-like game that I ever played. It's like I look at Wolfenstein, and for a long time I thought, you know, this was the first like 3D shooter game, but then I go back and look at Androne. That was really the first game like that I can remember. Now with Androne, the enemies couldn't fire back at you. Basically, you were playing as a... Yeah, it really is. It really is neat to see how much things have evolved. C64, and I remember playing some games on it. That's cool. I have one game for the C64. I don't have a computer to play it on, but one day I want to get one, and that game is Kickman. I don't know if you've ever heard of Kickman, but originally that was an arcade game, and I don't think that ever got a console release. You play as a clown on a unicycle, and you're trying to catch balloons on your head. Well, every now and then the balloons will drop too fast for you to be able to just catch them on your head. So you're able to kick the balloons back up into the air and then have another shot at catching them on your head. Well, here's where things get interesting. When that game was originally released, it was called Kick. But I never saw an original Kick until I went to Galloping Ghost Arcade. I originally played it under the title Kickman. It was in one of our arcades back in the 80s. But here's what was interesting about it. You played it with a trackball, moving left and right on this unicycle. And the clown would fall off the unicycle if you failed to catch a balloon. This is something I want to play. Yeah, well, see, here's another thing, too. There weren't just balloons you could catch. There were also ghost monsters from Pac-Man, and also Pac-Man himself made an appearance. you could catch ghosts on your hat and then catch Pac-Man, and he would just like slowly eat down all the balloons and all the ghosts that you caught. Which that's why they ended up calling it Kickman, because it sounded more similar to Pac-Man, which was a big moneymaker for Midway at the time. But see, Midway had a problem. Their problem was they abused the licenses that they got from Namco. It wasn't just Pac-Man. They also abused the Galaxian license. I don't know if you guys remember a game called Gorf. That's another one of the earliest games I remember playing. So I mentioned that there was a grocery store where I used to play Star Castle. Well, they had Gorf also. Gorf was this game that Midway released where you were a ship at the bottom of the screen, but your ship could move up. It wasn't just left and right. Yeah, it also was one of the earliest games that had voice sampling in it. Only it talked like a robot. If you've ever played Wizard of War, it had the same voice sampling technology. That's kind of what the voices sounded like in the game. Some galactic defender, you are space cadet. Well, Gorf had a level in it called the Galaxians. Not only did they use the Galaxian name, but they used the original ships from the game Galaxian. Console was the PS1, so I don't know most of these games. Yeah, we're talking stuff that that was like early 80s arcade games. I know the C64 got Kickman, but it was originally an arcade title, which is how I'll always remember it. But I don't think it ever got a console port. The closest I've ever heard of to it getting a console port, Berserk and Star Trek were worse. Hey, don't be hating on Berserk now. Now see, Berserk, are you aware how much money Stern paid for the voice synthesis in that game? Yeah, I remember playing the arcade version of Tetris, which was released by Atari Games. Very fond memories playing that. But yeah, so Berserk, they spared no expense on that one. I remember the first time I ever saw Berserk was, well, the first time I ever actually played it was on the 2600. I knew a girl who owned a 2600. That was one of the games she had, and I originally played it on hers. But handheld Tetris when you were young, that's cool. Ah, crap. I'm less worried about the electrical current in the water and more concerned about the enemy soldiers I'll have to face once we're past this area. But yeah, so I later found out that there was an arcade version of Berserk, and that it had a character in it that I had never experienced in the 2600 version. He's in there, but you have to up the difficulty for him to appear, and that's Evil Otto. But yeah, so I later found out that in the original Berserk, you're okay. I'm just messing around. You're all good. But yeah, so I found out through research. Yeah, You want to know something interesting? So, the company that made Berserk is was Stern Electronics, which was based around Chicago. Well, the first time I made the trip to Chicago to go to the Galloping Ghost, I crossed into Illinois through Calumet City. And when you go to Calumet City, they have 2 water towers there, both of which are painted yellow and have smiley faces painted on them. Just like Evil Otto. Coincidence? Yeah, it is. Because those water towers were painted back in the 70s, but still kind of eerie. Especially when you consider what happened at Calumet City in regards to Berserk. But anyhow, before I go off any further on this rabbit trail, Stern paid a lot of money for the voice synthesis in that game. I think it was like it was $1,000 per word. You have to Google that. Yeah. So it was $1,000 per word back then. And think about this. Put this into perspective. This is $1,000 of 1980 currency. Think how much more that would be back then. New York City area. Midwest isn't your comfort zone. But just picture this. So $1,000 per word. Yeah, but at least a good 2,000 or a little more than 2,000. But yeah, so they spent like $1,000 a word on voice synthesis, and they basically took 30 words and arranged them into sentences. So they spent $30,000 on just the voice synthesis. Yeah, that sounds nuts, doesn't it? Especially when, like you mentioned, the voice quality was what we got in that game. Chicken, fight like a robot. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Got the humanoid, got the intruder. But yeah, it was $30,000 for just the voice sampling. But yeah, so what I was alluding to as far as Calumet City goes, there was an arcade in Calumet City back in the 80s. I've actually been to the building where that arcade used to be. It's in a place called Sherwood Plaza. And I've actually taken pictures of the building itself. But there was a guy who went to Friar Tuck's on April 3rd, I think it was, of 1982, and he had a heart attack and died while playing Berserk. 83er here, was born at the cusp. Anybody born in the 70s says to me, Maddie, our generation, if it swims like a duck, it's a duck. Yeah, just like my Twitch name suggests, I was born in 78. So yeah, I'm just a little older. But yeah, so this guy, Peter Bukowski was his name. Born in 99. Well, I'm happy you're both here. But yeah, so Peter Bukowski was 18 years old, and he didn't smoke. He was drug-free, and people were like, what the heck caused him to just drop dead of a heart attack like that? It turned out he had scar tissue on his heart that was 2 weeks old that nobody knew about. And it wasn't discovered until after that happened. But the arcade where it happened was Friar Tuck's in Calumet City. Now, there's an urban legend that another guy had the same thing happen to him in January of 1981. Yeah, it really is. But, and there's actually a newspaper article that chronicling this, so we know it actually happened. But there's another guy who supposedly also died from a heart attack while playing Berserk in 1981. About a full year before Peter died, and he was 19. But like, nobody can find a whole lot of documentation on it. And not only that, but if you look up the name Jeff Daly on Find a Grave, you will actually see an entry there. Yeah, exactly. You know, I've actually played a Polybius cabinet. Now, granted, it's one of those cabinets that's made to be what that would actually be like if the myth was true. But yeah, I saw it at our arcade expo a couple years last year. Games, as my father never really gained, so I never got to hear about them. Yeah, so here's how Berserk goes. You play as this humanoid intruder in a maze, and your character is shaped like a stick man. And there's all these robots in the maze. Your goal is simple: destroy the robots, get out of the maze, live to fight another day. But the thing is, there's so many things that can kill you in that game. A robot shoots you, you're dead. A robot touches you, you're dead. These guys played games and never took a break. Well, actually, in Peter Bukowski's case, he had a heart condition that nobody knew about. That's what happened to him. All right, we'll leave the light on for you, Maddie. We'll see when you get back. So anyhow, Jeff Daly is the name of the other guy who supposedly had the same thing happen. But here's where it gets problematic. The first ever record of Jeff Daly's death seems to come from a little gaming magazine that was printed for a short time in the early 80s. Like, it was sometime after it supposedly happened. To make matters even worse for that story, if you look up Find a Grave, there is indeed an entry for a Jeff Daly who died at 19 years old in 1981. But not only is the time wrong, the article in the little magazine says January 1981 is when he supposedly died playing Berserk. And the Jeff Daly on Find a Grave passed away in May of 81. And it was from a car accident, not from playing a video game. So the general consensus is the Jeff Daly story is just that. Like, that somebody probably got the name from the accident report and just passed it off as as he died playing Berserk, when in fact that's not what happened. But yeah, so there was a doctor who started doing experiments after the Peter Bukowski incident, because he was curious to find out what happens to our bodies when we play video games. And he found out, I mean, think about what the games were like back then. You couldn't take a breather in 80s arcade games like you can in today's games. You are under constant pressure in an 80s arcade game. But he found out that people's blood pressures were going up to about 200, and they would never know it. It was a quarter back then. Well, in most cases, I remember we had one arcade in my area where you got like 2 tokens for a quarter, and some games were cost 1 token to play. Other games cost 2 tokens. If it was 2 tokens, no big deal, because that was a quarter. The most expensive game I remember playing back in the 80s was the original Afterburner. Well, technically it was Afterburner 2, because we didn't get Afterburner 1 in the US. We just got Afterburner 2. But that game, get ready. I played it at the same arcade that I just mentioned, where you got 2 tokens for $1. It cost 7 tokens to play Afterburner back then. That's 87.5 cents. Yeah, Outrun did suck a lot of quarters, that's right. Alright, Jennifer, what's on your mind? The commander is located on the top level of this base. But yeah, so, let me think here for a second. Not back then. I usually wasn't playing a whole lot for score back then. Now, I do remember the first time a game ever asked me to put my initials in, and that was Centipede. Back then, I didn't know what to do at that point. But I remember I was at one of the local arcades, probably the mall arcade, and my grandmother told me what to put in. She's like, it's telling you to enter your initials. She said, put this in. Damn it. XXX was your name? Oh, this is getting annoying. But yeah, so, I remember, my grandmother was with me that first time, and then, my mother took me to Chuck E. Cheese's, sometime later, and she was there when I played Centipede and got it to happen there. She, like, it got to the end of the game, the high score screen came up, and she was just reading what was on the screen. She was like, great score, and then she got so excited when it said enter your initials. And of course, back then I already knew what to put in. Remember your aunt telling you to do that on Dig Dug? Yeah. What, put XXX? Or she just told you what to put in? And then I remember our local mall arcade had one game that I've never seen since. Thank goodness I played it back then. We had, brace yourselves, we had an honest to goodness Professor Pac-Man. Only 400 of those were made, and the vast majority of them are believed to have been converted to Pac-Land. Oh, here's another thing that kind of goes off on that. So I mentioned that, well, Professor Pac-Man is not a Pac-Man game at all. At least not the way we think of them. It's a trivia game. You, instead of moving about a maze, the game would ask you questions, mostly site-based stuff. And you had to press A, B, or C buttons to answer the questions. If you, no, not XXX. I didn't know what initials were. Ah, yeah, so you and I were in the same boat. Okay. Hey, Scott, it's going really well. Welcome in. Yeah, it's, if, unless you were gaming, like, real early on, I'd be pretty surprised if you had heard of Professor Pac-Man. Like I said, I think I remembered hearing some kids talk about it at school, like they had gone to the mall arcade and played it there. But I was thinking, Professor Pac-Man, what are they talking about? Is this something they just made up or something? No, it's not made up. There really is such a thing. And when I went to the mall arcade not long ago after that, I saw it for myself. And years down the road, I found out what a rare game that is. Just to put it in perspective, the first ever... No, we're not talking about the cartoon. We're talking about Professor Pac-Man, which came out in 1983. It was one of the last Pac-Man games that Midway released. And the reason it was one of the last ones was because Midway had a problem of abusing the Pac-Man license. Like, I'll give you an example. Back in 1981, you know, Midway got the license to Pac-Man, and the game did pretty well in Japan, I think, but nowhere near as well as it did here. They were, according to one of the guys at Midway, they were, this is not an exaggeration, they were putting out like 1,200 Pac-Man cabinets a day. So, you know, it was such a big money maker, so really successful for him. And they were on pins and needles waiting for the next game. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, yeah, it's a trivia type game. Well, kind of like trivia, but it's more site-based questions. But yeah, you didn't go around a maze. Instead, you pressed A, B, or C button. Oh, yeah. The Pac-Man pasta. I remember eating the chicken flavor of that. Oh, that was good stuff, man. Get this on blank. What, the game I'm playing right now, or Professor Pac-Man? But yeah, so Midway was on pins and needles waiting for Namco to, oh, Professor Pac-Man, yeah. Yeah, so, well, just don't be prepared for anything mind-blowing. The best that can be said about it is it's something different. And it's a very rare footnote in the history of Pac-Man. It's estimated that there may only be about 20 or so cabinets still in existence. My favorite arcade game? That's a tough one. I'm almost tempted to say Galaga. I know that's a perennial favorite of mine, and I remember one time I went to, I was going on my first international flight, and I was stopped over in the Minneapolis airport, and I decided I was going to have a drink at the TGI Fridays. Mind you, Donkey Kong Jr. math, that's a pretty good comparison. Little different. Little different in the way of how the questions go, but yeah, the concept's kind of the same. You take a very popular licensed character and you make an edutainment title out of it. Only difference is Nintendo themselves put Donkey Kong Jr. math out, while Midway 1942 is yours. Yeah, that's a Capcom title. That's a good one. But I played so many good games back in the day. It's really hard to narrow it down to one. But yeah, so the original Pac-Man comes out. It's doing exceptionally well. Arcade games span a long time. Well, even past the 80s. Matter of fact, I gotta tell you guys about a game that we're gonna be streaming after a while on this channel. I don't know when, but I've got this coming in from Strictly Limited Games out in Germany. There's a game that they helped to finish. Yes, I said finish. This game was originally intended to be released. Spy Hunter's a really good one. Yeah. I never saw a sit-down cabinet of that, but Spy Hunter's an awesome game. An awesome game that was originally intended to use the James Bond theme, but ended up going with Peter Gunn because the rights were cheaper. Yeah, the original developer, George Gomez, talked in an interview, and he said that the original prototype ran with the James Bond theme, and eventually they determined that the rights were going to be too expensive. So one of the other guys said, "Hey, why don't you go with the Peter Gunn theme?" And hey, it did the trick. I mean, it fit the game perfectly as far as I'm concerned. Now, Spy Hunter 2, I want to like that game better than I do, but at least I've gotten to play an arcade cabinet of it. I remember seeing that one at a bowling alley one day. From every era then. Now that makes it a bit more interesting. Because that expands things quite a bit. Star Castle's always going to hold a place in my heart because it's the first game I have the really vivid memories playing. But yeah, so the story of Midway and the Pac-Man license. So they were making all this money out of Pac-Man, and Namco, it took Namco 2 years to make the sequel to Pac-Man, which was Super Pac-Man. And Midway was like, oh, but it's taking them so long. We want to release another Pac-Man game and have another wave of money come in. And one day, a group called, I think it was General Computers. I could be mistaken about that, but this group came up to him and said, hey, we know, we want to show you this ROM hack of Pac-Man that we've made. We know you're the U.S. distributor, so we wanted to show it to you and see what you think of it. So they showed him a game called Crazy Auto. And Midway loved it. They loved it so much that they basically stole the game and turned it into Ms. Pac-Man. So there you go. Ms. Pac-Man was not actually sanctioned by Namco. And it was a retooling of a ROM hack. Now Midway did turn the rights to Ms. Pac-Man over to Namco. And Namco's response was basically something like, we're not happy that you did this, but we can't deny that this is a very good game. But that's why you don't see Ms. Pac-Man. Well, sometimes that was all they got. I mean, look at E.T. for crying out loud. I think that guy it was like one guy got like 6 weeks to make it. I believe is the story I've heard. Now, one story I've really liked from Atari is the story of Missile Command. The creator of Missile Command intentionally programmed the game without an ending. Now, back then, most games didn't have an ending, but he intentionally made Missile Command to where it didn't end. And he said, I was trying to drive home the message that when you're dealing with nuclear war, there's no such thing as a winner. You think you were being aggressive at all? Sorry if my reply made you think so. Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. So anyhow, Namco brings out Ms. Pac-Man, or no, Midway does. 6 weeks isn't going to make a good game. Yeah, exactly. And if it tells you anything, the quality of the E.T. game, just think about that landfill in New Mexico where so many cartridges were dug up 30 years after they were buried. It turns out that was not an urban legend. It was real. A group actually went out to the landfill in 2013, which was 30 years after the cartridges were buried, and they dug them up. But that's how bad a game E.T. was. That it was actually buried in a landfill. And I don't think that was the only game that was buried there either. I think they buried a bunch of copies of Pac-Man, some other 2600 systems that couldn't be sold anymore. Yeah. They still have that video playing on Xbox. Yeah, the 2600 version of Pac-Man. Well, see, the thing is, Atari had $signs rolling through their head, just like Midway did. They knew what a popular game Pac-Man was, and this is how the mentality of Atari was. They thought, you know what? People love Pac-Man so much. Let's make more copies of Pac-Man than the number of consoles we've sold. People will buy our console just to get their hands on Pac-Man. Not only did that not happen, but most of the copies of Pac-Man ended up getting shipped back. Oops. That's right, I need card 5 here. But yeah, so from what I've heard, Atari just had a crap ton of stuff they couldn't sell. Not just E.T., but also copies of Pac-Man. In some cases, perhaps consoles even, that just couldn't be sold anymore. Yep, well actually, Tengen was Atari Games. The thing is, when the original Atari company was purchased from Warner back in 1983 or 1984, it was purchased by Jack Tramiel, who owned the Commodore 64 company, I believe it was. And he reached an agreement with Warner, because Warner did hold on to the arcade division of Atari, because that division was still making money. So the agreement they reached was that they could continue to use the Atari name as long as they tacked the word games on after it. And in the home market, they couldn't use the Atari brand at all. They would have to change the name in the home market. And Tengen is the name they ended up going with. I believe it's a Go term, much like Atari was, but I forget what it means. Yeah, black cartridge games, those were pretty cool. Well, see, Tengen were really the first ones to go rogue on Nintendo, and basically what it was, they didn't want to have to pay the licensing fee anymore, because Nintendo were kind of draconian in the US. Like, they had all these rules for... No, Tengen was Atari Games. And, no, it's, I think they offered, Namco, the chance to buy Atari. And, Namco just wasn't interested. But, although some of Namco's games were released under the Tengen label, that much is true. But yeah, so, Atari Games, they could use that in the arcade, but not on the home market. And then, there were also some Sega titles released on the NES under the Tengen label. Like, ones that immediately come to mind are games like, Shinobi, Afterburner, let's see, Fantasy Zone was another one. And then in Japan, they released, I think Space Harrier and Outrun, on the Tengen label. And I am going to have to use a ration here, or I'm gonna die. Will you roll over this way? Okay. Move over, Stallone. There's a new Demolition Man in town. Somebody put me back in the fridge. Hey, thanks for the 100 bits, Maddie. I appreciate that so much. But yeah, I got to the point where it wasn't enough for me to learn how to play games anymore. I wanted to research as much as I could on the industry's history. And one of the things I learned was that the original Atari company ended up becoming Tengen in the home market, and it's because the market, or the agreement that Jack Tramiel reached with Warner, was that they could only use the Atari brand in the arcade. And again, they could only do it if they added the word games onto it. just to kind of acknowledge that they weren't the ones who owned the brand anymore. Jack Tramiel was. Well, Jack Tramiel, according to Eugene Jarvis, who was one of the main guys at Williams, like he was one of the creators of Defender. I met Eugene Jarvis, by the way. Eugene Jarvis and Larry DeMar. Great, great people. They, according to Eugene Jarvis, they were working on hard driving. Yeah, hard driving was one of them. Just about everything that was released from 1984 on had the Atari Games logo. And see, they didn't need the Tengen brand eventually because they were bought by Midway. And once Midway got ownership of Atari Games, they just used the Midway brand. Well, for a time they used the Time Warner Interactive brand, like with games like Super RBI Baseball on the SNES was a game they used that brand on. But eventually, they just used the Midway brand on the in the home market, and then continued to use Atari Games in the arcade with games like Gauntlet Legends or Mace was another one. We're talking later 90s with those titles. But yeah, so you know, I think the first game under the Atari Games brand was Paperboy. Either that or Marble Madness. Both of those are 1984 titles. Mid or late 90s takes me back. Yeah. I think we're all getting pretty nostalgic in here, which is great. Yes, it is. And the one thing that's really missing from Paperboy in the home is the handlebars. You know, you can only do so much with an analog stick to try to replicate the feel of something like that. Oh yeah, Marble Madness is a classic too. You know, the first place I ever saw a Marble Madness cabinet, the NES one. The first place I ever saw a Marble Madness cabinet was at an arcade called Game Galaxy down in Tennessee. And then later I saw another one at the Place Retro Arcade, which, as I mentioned, is in Cincinnati. And now Galloping Ghost has one. So, yeah, Marble Madness is out there. Now, what I'd really like to see is Marble Madness 2, Marble Man. I wonder if Galloping Ghost is ever going to get that one. They have a lot of really, really freaking rare titles. I'm talking, they have a Beavis and Butthead, which there was like maybe 25 at the most of those made. That was prototype only, and they have one of them. Now, see, here's the thing. When they got their Beavis and Butthead, it wasn't working. And the owner didn't know what was wrong with it. Yeah, I've never owned the NES Marble Madness. I've played it, but I've only ever owned arcade collections that have the arcade version. Which, again, there's only so much you can do to replicate a trackball on a standard controller. Especially when you have to keep rolling that ball. You can't really... The only controller that I can think of that replicates that perfectly is the roller controller on the ColecoVision, which I think you use that primarily for Victory, which is an Exidy title. The same company that is responsible for giving us games like Mousetrap, Pepper 2, Venture. Games that I have a real soft spot for. By the way, when I was a kid, the only one of those games that I ever remember seeing was Pepper 2. And as I've been told, Pepper 2 is a really hard one to come by. And no, before you ask, there is no such thing as Pepper 1. Why do they call it Pepper 2? Who knows? Nobody knows why they call it that. But Pepper 2 is such a fun game. It's the game I would compare it the most to is Amadar. You control this this creature with a halo. I guess he's kind of supposed to be an angel of some sort. But there's pitchforks on the field. And if you... Alright, Maddie. Thanks so much for the lurk. But yeah, so you basically would zip along. Like I'm talking, when I say zip, I'm talking literally like a zipper. And like when you zipped completely around an area on the field, you would claim that area and get points for it. Well, in certain areas on the field, there were pitchforks. And if you enclosed those areas, you would your character would turn into a devil type creature. And wait, I need card 2. And he could then attack the eyeballs that were going around the screen. Our weapons are ready. Well, bully for you. Oh, wait a minute. Oops. Okay, so we know if we go down there, we'll run into a pitfall. That was close. Good. Okay, so we have to go into the lower areas in order to access that area. Is it card 5 we need to get in here? Yeah. This is like Frogger, only more aggravating. I wonder, can we even get... Yes, we can. Nope. Don't want to go in there yet. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think I do. Thank goodness we've got all those rations, eh? Wasn't sure how close you could get to him and still nail those things. And it sucks so bad that there's no way out of taking damage in those gas chambers. Okay. Wait, I know where we are. And it's It's someplace I don't want to be just yet. What? That's just cruel. I think it was part 2 we needed for here. We'll find out in a second. At least there's an area where we can refill our rations. I want to try to get to that rightmost area. I hate this. I hate areas like this with every fiber of my being. Because if you step off the platforms, it's instant death. Cool. Ah! That was my own fault. That was totally my own fault. But we'll get it. I mean, we navigated the Frogger platforms there. Gosh. Okay, 990 period. Oops. 55. The worst part about it is how long it takes to get all that stuff back. I mean, we've got to get the oxygen tanks back. We've got to get the truth gas back. We've got to get the explosives, the grenades, the flare bombs. And don't get me started about the rations. What I should have done was gone through the other door and then come back out. Oh, boy. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait for it. Nice. think we found the path we need to take to get around those pitfalls. Now it's just a matter of navigating those Frogger platforms. One. Two. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. We're full on explosives. Cool. 2 more. No, strike that. Not 2 more. 8 more. I forgot how high rank we are and how many rations we can carry. That's a piece of information you don't want to forget. Okay, yeah, we need 7 more. And it won't be too terribly long, I don't think, before we won't need the truth gas anymore. That'll save us a bit of time. That's mainly what irritates me so much about dying here. Is you take so much time getting all your stuff, and one misstep, and boom, you lose it all. Okay, 6 more. Can you drop some rations, folks? Rations. Whew. Come on, dude. Thank you. 5 left. Guess we're getting a lot of ammo while we're at it. Four. All right, come on. Come on, 4 more cans of rations. That's all I need. 3. 2. 'Nah, I'm not gonna bother with him. That could have been disastrous, but it wasn't. Cool. Full on the ammo. One more. We just need one more ration. Whoop, there it is. In the words of tag team. Okay, now we'll go pick up our truth gas. Cool. Oh, almost. I kind of thought I had jumped too late. Yeah, this way. Cool. Oops. Wait for it. Ah, you bilge rat. Still, one ration should be all we need. Nice! I think that's the first time we've gotten by him without taking a hit. Or getting an alert. Well, at least from that direction. We've gotten past him going the other direction without triggering an alert. Still, having problems playing the Switch. Oh, docked it backwards. Jeez! How you doing? So good to see you. We're playing some Snake's Revenge. If you're not familiar with this game, it's I'm doing pretty well, except I keep dying in this game because this game's got very annoying pitfalls and you know, just a lot of insta-kill traps, and I've fallen victim to a lot of them here. Although I am in the final building of the game. I got a truth gas. Which, of course, you use those on enemy commanders to get them to tell you what they know. And still sometimes... Yep. In some cases, that may be truth gases. And I'll tell you what I need, what you want to know. Just don't do that again, please. So, everybody, if you're not following Cheeseball81 here, you really should be. She's one of my favorite streamers. Does a lot of Zelda 2 and Friday the 13th speedrunning primarily, but she also plays a lot of Sonic, Mortal Kombat, some game show games, Where's Waldo every now and then. Just to name a few. That's not all she plays, but that's a lot of what you can expect to see. And there's always a lot of good times to be had, no matter what's going on, no matter what's being played. Oh, no, you don't. Got the boots on just in time. You absolutely do. And then there's the fact that we share a birthday, too. That's the icing on an already scrumptious cake. That's right. So this game, I'm finding a lot of people here on Twitch that like this game, but a lot of people, like diehard Metal Gear fans, really don't like it because it went in such a different direction from a lot of the other games. Like, this is the only Metal Gear game that's ever had side-scrolling levels like this. Yes, this is on the NES, and this didn't even get a release in Japan. Although I'm streaming it because we're doing a Metal Gear marathon. And as I understand, it was largely thanks to this game that Hideo Kojima decided to make a Metal Gear sequel. From what I understand, before this game came out, even though he left the door open to make a sequel, he wasn't planning to. And then this game came out, and somebody told him about it, and they said, why don't you make a proper sequel? Yeah, I like it too. And from what I've heard Kojima likes it too, which I'm really happy to hear about that, because that means we're in good company if we like it. Sleeping late as usual, eh, Snake? Liquid, you're still alive. I won't die as long as you still live. Too bad. Looks like your revolution was a failure. Just because you've destroyed Metal Gear doesn't mean I am done fighting. Fighting? What are you really after? A world where warriors like us are honored, as we once were. As we should be. Little dialogue from the first Metal Gear Solid there. I'll tell you what, it was a life maker to have both Cam Clark and David Hayter, who created those two voices, both compliment me on my impressions of them. And to think, a Metal Gear voice acting video got me my first voice acting role offer. I'm never gonna stop being bummed that we couldn't release that project. Okay, time to become the next Demolition Man. Somebody put me back in the fridge. Yep. Intro video, I would love to. I would so love to. Matter of fact, I'm planning on doing some voicemail greeting audio for some people. I got the idea to do that from Comic Cons because there's a lot of voice actors at those who will record a voicemail greeting for you for a fee. And of course, depending on who it is, that depends on how much the fee is. I know the first person I ever heard. Problem is, know nothing about video editing other than making clip compilations. You know, I've always got I've got a new emote that I've wanted to do something similar to the Derpy Barba clip. It's a confused Olmec. You might remember Olmec from Legends of the Hidden Temple. I've got an emote of Olmec looking confused, and I can actually do his voice. But beware of the spirits of the temple guards that may inhabit the trees. If you're caught, you will have to give up a pendant of life. Yeah, I've got the emote for it, but and I'd like to go ahead and put it on the stream deck. Yeah, that was one of the early voices that that I found out I could do that I was really proud of. And as far as this game making me fall victim to so many death traps, I've only got one thing to say to that.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
That's right. Tell him I'm coming. And hell's coming with me. Little something for you Tombstone fans. Too bad I've never met Kurt Russell. I bet he would be awesome to me. Speaking of Kurt Russell, his character in Escape from New York is pretty much the biggest inspiration for Solid Snake. You know, you'll see so many, was thundering as someone yelled up, Thunderfist, come get your boys. Oh, was that before I showed up? I wish I could have been there for that. I would have been in stitches. Oh, that's a shame that I wasn't there. That's why you left the temple, isn't it? The fate of the world is too much responsibility. But vengeance, that's so much simpler. Little Raiden from the original Mortal Kombat movie for you. So you're going to win the tournament. That's right. Show me how. Oh, don't tell me you're afraid of a simple beggar. You know, if Comic-Cons hadn't been shut down last year, Christopher Lambert would have been at one that I was going to go to. I so wanted to see him. Adrian Paul was scheduled to be there too, but I met Adrian. Matter of fact, I got a katana autographed by him. Well, the scabbard of it anyway. I think it would have been frowned on if I tried to take the blade itself into the con, but he was all too happy to sign the scabbard itself. Matter of fact, I asked him about the Highlander PS3 game, which was canceled, because I'd heard Duncan and Connor were supposed to be in it. And I basically just asked him if he was going to be on board to do the voices, or do the voice of Duncan. And he didn't give me a yes or no answer, but he knew too many details about the game to have not been involved with it. Like, he even knew how much money was spent making the game before it was canceled. I don't see how he could have known that unless he was actually on board working on it. But yeah, I was so looking forward to that game, and I was so disappointed when it got canceled. Hopefully that'll be something they'll revisit one day. Oh, definitely want that. Now let's pick up some grenades. Here in a moment, we're going to be back to trying to navigate those pitfalls, which I'm not really looking forward to them, but, you know, what can you do, right? Pump us up for it, Ace.
Alrighty then.
Oh, that's right. I need to use the power armor first. I keep forgetting about that. Oh, you mean the Ace Ventura series? Yeah, I vaguely remember the cartoon. Matter of fact, I've got the Ace Ventura DVD set, which has a couple of episodes of the cartoon on it. I remember watching an episode or two of it on Saturday mornings, but I think I might have seen the Mask cartoon a little more. Which, that's my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time. And the next time we eat a grenade or a rocket,
That's a spicy meatball.
I cannot hear that without just dying of laughter. I mean, Jim Carrey absolutely nailed that role. Yeah, so they were making a Highlander game for PS3 and 360 back around 2009, but it got canceled. And the concept of the game was that you were going to play as a totally new character named Owen McLeod. And I understand that Duncan and Connor may not have been McLeods by blood, but they were McLeods because they fought alongside the McLeod clan during a war or something. Well, that's the boat that Owen's in. 23. Don't think I've seen that one. Oh my gosh, thank goodness. Oops. No, we don't need to call anybody. We don't need to reach out and touch someone. $23. Which one was that? Oh, I hate these platforms. I know I keep saying that, but it bears repeating. All right, we made it. And we don't need any rations. Thank goodness. Let's see. I'll need to look that one up sometime. Oh. There's a... I knew it. What is Metal Gear? I have never heard of it. Okay, so we freed him. All right. Now that I know what's over there, I'm very tempted, if we die again, to not even come back there. Because I don't think we can gain any rank from freeing any more prisoners or whatnot. But see, now I'm getting confused. Okay, one more. Please, dear Lord, don't step off that platform. Oh, thank goodness. Super good movie, a horror movie. Huh. Well, looks like we've got no choice but to go here now. Let's get to stabbing. Wait a minute. So Jim Carrey was in a horror movie? How did I not know about this? Oops. Okay. Here we go. Ah! Weak wall. So that must be how we get up to the other areas of, oh no. I did not need that. Yeah, what can you do, right? Come on. Come on. Uh-oh. No, you don't. Whew, that was close. Nice. I don't mind telling you guys, but this game is really making me nervous. Oh! You have been trapped. Ha ha ha. Well, that's the first time that's happened this game. I forgot that could even happen. Okay. Oh, no, you don't. I'm not falling for that again. So now we need 4 cans of rations. Thank goodness. ...2007, okay. Yeah, most of the Jim Carrey movies that I'm big into were from before that. Except, of course, stuff like the Cat in the Hat and no, wait, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's what I'm thinking of, and Christmas Carol, because I believe Jim Carrey was Scrooge in that, and that movie's even more dear to my heart than it would be already, because I was in a stage production of Christmas Carol back in 2011, and I played like 3 different characters. 2 of them were one and the same character, because our version of Christmas Carol was a little different than the conventional Christmas Carol, because in most versions of the Christmas Carol, you got the 3 ghosts, and they just have that one form. But in the version we did, the spirits had earthly counterparts. They were 3 merchants who each owed Scrooge money. How much, you don't know, but you know it was an amount that they couldn't afford to pay back. And so he would take something from each of them as collateral. Well, I played Christmas Future, and also one of the 2 solicitors who comes to ask Scrooge for a contribution. Super good role. It was not like any other I'd ever seen him do, but he nailed it. Oh yeah, I'll tell you somebody who I can't believe I'm saying this, but the late great Robin Williams, when he got his first villain role, I was very skeptical. I did not see him being able to pull that off. But man, oh man, did he. Totally made a believer out of me. Okay. Well, thank goodness we got full rations again. So, that pathway to the right that we didn't go down yet. Oh, I know what we're supposed to do here. What that's basically saying is they're talking in hushed voices. Let's use the hidden mic and see if we can pick it up. The commander's only weak spot is the soles of his feet. So basically what that means is you gotta use mines to kill him. So that's how you know that one guy we interrogated was lying when he said their commander had no weak spot and that no weapons could hurt him. Oh, Insomnia for Robin Williams? It might have been. I can't think what the name of the movie was. But oh my gosh. He made such a convincing villain, and I would have never guessed he would be that good of a villain. Okay, so that's where we use an antidote. Because those spikes will poison you. Thank goodness we've got quite a bit of those antidotes. No. Not yet. Uh-oh. $2,002 sounds about right. Oh, I see what to do now. That other path that we didn't take, we do need to go down that path. Yeah, that sounds about the right time, too. I remember seeing it on a talk show and just thinking, Robin Williams as a villain? But he seems like such a likable guy. I can't see it. And my gosh. He was just perfect for that character. Exactly what to do here. Oops. I think there's probably some antidotes over here. I can't imagine why there wouldn't be with all those with all those poison injecting spears here. Ooh! So that's where the backpack was. The backpack is a very valuable item. It lets you carry more, I think mines are one of the things you can carry. You can basically carry twice the mines and I think twice the missiles with that. Like Mork and Mindy when you were younger. Yeah, that's a great show. Nanu. Shotbot. Such a tragedy that what happened to him. I mean, you want to talk about a man who entertained a generation. I mean, heck, Aladdin is my favorite animated Disney movie of all time, primarily because of Robin Williams as the genie. Running low on antidotes. But hey, pretty soon we'll be able to get another password and be able to bypass a lot of places. Oh, I remember this. Wow. I'm gonna use the shotgun on him. Ow. Guy that had everything and could do whatever he wanted. Well, the thing is, people say he was under depression. Like, really serious depression. Just goes to show. Sometimes the people you think are in the best place in life, it turns out not everything's going as well for them as it seems like it is. Okay, cool. You have been trapped. Ha ha ha. Joke's on you. I'm moved. I am so glad we got that backpack. And again, I will say, I hate with every fiber of my being the fact that there's no way out of taking damage in these gas rooms. Come on. Look where we are. We're on the other side. Yep. Those pitfalls can't get us now. At least not the ones in that room. Card 2, card 3, card 4, card 5. Okay. Cool. Ammo, claymore mines. I think we're gonna take it down this time. I truly believe we will. The worst of the traps are behind us, I believe. What is 30 the most claymores we can carry, I think? Okay, I know what the last piece of equipment we need is. We need smoke bomb. Let's see. If we go back in there 7 more times, we should be good on claymores. All we need now is to find more enemies to fight and get rations from. As long as we can find someone to fight and beat rations out of, we'll be able to beat this. No problem. I don't think we're going to have a lot of problems as it is, but still. Okay. Yeah. Oh, cool. There's the mines. And we can carry a freak ton of mines now. Not just because we're 6-star rank, but also because we found that backpack. The backpack lets you carry twice the amount of mines you could carry otherwise. That's why it's such a good thing we found it. That's one item that I didn't find last time. Thinking we might be able to carry 80 mines. I think that's 10 pickups we've gotten. 11. I got landmines. 12. But yeah, we had to use landmines to take the tank out. I got mines. Yeah, see, I never took that area before. That we, you know, we skipped that area at first before. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try it again. Or what it was, I thought that was a path that would lead straight to the end of the game, and I just wasn't ready to end it yet. The good news is, if we die again for some reason, we'll still be able to keep the backpack. So that's something we won't have to pick up again. And the commander that we gassed, we won't have to gas him again because he'll already be counted. But yeah, we need more rations. Really? That's cool. Tire trailer, that's cool. Man, I haven't heard anything about Bigfoot in a while. I still remember they made the Bigfoot NES game, which I still to this day haven't played. And they even featured Bigfoot on the Video Power series back before they turned it into a game show. I haven't really watched the cartoon series, but I know they used a lot of acclaimed characters like Max Force from Narc, and I think Kuros was one of them. And then later they turned it into a game show where there's a picture of it on the side. That's cool. I bet that's something you don't see every day. Then again, you've seen so much more of the country than I'd probably ever dream of seeing. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I've got 80 mines. We'd only be able to carry 40 of them if we hadn't gotten that backpack. Is that the first time you've ever seen that? That's gotta be so cool. Whoa! That was too close. One more can of rations. That's all we need. And then that door undoubtedly will take us to a different floor. And it almost seemed like it kind of... It did this sound like when we gassed one of the commanders when we used the hidden microphone. I wonder if that counted as well. Like towards our rank progression. Okay, so the commander's on the top floor. We don't want to go there yet. There's still a few things we want to get. I bet you do. Ooh. Lieutenant, it was careless of me. Alright, that didn't look good. What is going on with you, Nick? Stupid people that own pickup trucks and load them stupidly. Oh, I bet. Uh-oh. Well, we got card 8. But look. That's Nick. We have discovered that Jennifer is a spy. A life support system is in Big Boss's room. Lead him out, then attack. And Nick is dead. Oh, crap. Well, you want to know something? I was planning to leave this area anyway and go back to the elevator. Reason being, I want to make sure I get card 8 in my inventory if we game over again. Yeah, I see a lot of weird things where I work too, but you know, I only see the craziness that happens nearby. I don't get to see the craziness that happens all over the country like you do. Wait for it. So see, if you find Nick there, he tells you the other clue, which is that you need to lure the commander out. And we know where he's vulnerable, and we need to, we know what we need to attack him with. I bet it does. The crazy that I see gets old, I know that. Okay. So card 8 doesn't work. 7. Look at this. I got a smoke bomb. I think that was the last item we needed. Pretty much a full inventory. One last thing I would want to get. Yes, I do believe we're going to beat this tonight. No. Not card 8. Don't tell me Kardashian. What the heck? Alright, this is weird. It's going on at 16 years for me. Okay. So card 8, no. Ah, it was card 6. Nice! Let's pick up those missiles. I think we can carry 80 of those as well. We pick up 5 of them with every one of these pickups that we collect. 6, 7, 8. The only thing I noticed we couldn't get any more of was the antidote. 9. Because we've been in every room in this building, and there was not a single one that would give us antidotes. We would have had to have gone back to the building before this one in order to get more antidotes. $13, 14, 15, 16. All right. Crap. Yeah. Now, the best thing about this, we've got everything we could possibly need. Oh, wow, 90 missiles. Only thing we need now more can of rations. Once we have that, I will be completely confident that we can put this game away. Okay, good. Now we can go up to the next floor. And if we game over, we'll have all the equipment that we can possibly carry. Crap. Okay. We'll go ahead and use the knife. Ah, I remember those things. When you see those, you know you're almost at the end. Get card 8 out. I'm a little nervous here. I don't know if there's going to be pitfalls or what. Really? Okay, hold it. Card 1 didn't work. Card 2 doesn't work. Neither does card 3. Neither does card 4. Neither does card 5. Neither does card 6. Neither does card 7. Neither does card 8. That's weird. But yeah, when you see those bipedal mechanoloids wandering around, that's when you know you're in the final stretch of the game. Alright, this is weird. hell? So John's dead, Nick is dead. What about Jennifer? Okay, hold it. This makes no sense. Okay. We know what that means. No, they can't be. You see? That was the only door into the room. One of these doors is going to have to open. And I'm tempted to use explosives to try to open it. Okay, that didn't do anything. Oh, it's a hint-free stream. But that's weird. I could have sworn I used every single card. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure I used every single card on that door, and it didn't open earlier. That's all good. Besides, pretty sure I know where to go now. It looks like only certain doors open here, it looks like. Yeah, that's what well, I'm pretty sure I did. Maybe it just didn't register with the game. Okay, hold it. Okay. Ah! That just gave me a clue. So if you use the binoculars... Ah, hey Erica, good to hear from you. Okay, here we go. Time to take this game down once and for all. Okay. So card 8 isn't gonna work. This is Big Boss. You destroyed Metal Gear 1 and made me a cyborg. Now I want revenge. So, of the 3 characters that were from the original Metal Gear that are in this, there's Solid Snake, there's Jennifer, and now there's Big Boss. Now it's time to fight Big Boss. Now I know we're using grenades here. There's a reason for that. Now's where you use the mines. Ha ha ha! I have no weak point you can penetrate. And as we found out earlier, he's got a life support system. So we had to lure him out. And now we'll equip the mines. Uh-oh. You gotta use those rations like crazy here. While putting down those mines like crazy too. Okay, we've hit him with 18 already. Got him! Warning. Metal Gear 2 is operable. Personnel are to go to the underground shelter. Okay, now we want to get our missiles out. Oh. Thanks. But it's still not over yet. We've got one more boss fight to go. Ooh, there's Jennifer. Thanks, Snake. You can go into the secret plant from this door. Well, thank you. Now we gotta get on a tram. That's right. One more boss fight to go, and we are through this game. Oh, we got a call. Well, it's the helicopter pilot. Snake, follow Jennifer's instructions on entering secret plant. Use copter missiles to blow up the wall to enter. The spot is marked by a flare. You must not fail. Now, what he means is the smoke bomb we picked up. Warning. The first attack points are New York, Tokyo, and Moscow. Card 8 doesn't work. Okay, 7 did. Please don't let it end like this. Okay, good. Here we are. It's Metal Gear 2. And that's what you have to do. You have to guide missiles. Well, the way I'm firing them, thank goodness we've got 90 of the things. But yeah, you have to guide missiles so that they get past those little barriers and hit it directly in the eye. See, Metal Gear won't attack. But if you don't destroy it within the time period, it will launch its nuke, which is an automatic game over. Mother brain only different. Yeah, exactly. Just slightly different. This is why it's such a good thing that I picked that backpack up. I think we'd still have enough missiles even if it wasn't for that, because we'd be able to carry 45 of them. As long as we don't get down to 45 missiles, we'd still be in a position where I could have taken it down even without the backpack. I think we've almost got it. I know you got to hit it 12 times. Boom! And we've done it. Metal Gear 2 is destroyed. And the game is over. After the completion of Operation 747, the UN declared World Peace Day. John Turner was listed as MIA and removed from Navy records. Nick Meyer was promoted 3 ranks after dying while in Foxhound. So here's my theory about John Turner. We know that the guy we found who claimed to be John Turner, he ended up being a spy. According to the booklet, he was last seen in 1969. I believe that the real John Turner was either killed in Vietnam, which that was the conflict we were involved in back then, or he was taken prisoner. And then the spy shows up and claims to be John Turner. Special thanks, Konami PC team. But the real John Turner is, like it says, MIA. Presented by Konami. And you see Snake smiling there as we finish the mission. Well, folks, that's going to do it for the evening. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow, we will start on another Metal Gear game. I am going to try to get Portable Ops working on the PlayStation TV. But if I can't, then we'll go ahead and we'll start on Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which is the true sequel to the original Metal Gear. But it's thanks to this game right here, Snake's Revenge, that we have Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. And after that, all of the sequels, all the Metal Gear Solid games came about as a result of this game right here. And that's not even canon. And I was so happy to see so many people come in who proved to be such big fans of this game like I am. Thanks, Scott. I will have a good night. You have a good one, too. In the meantime, like I like to do, I like to throw a raid to somebody before we head out. Who is on? Let's see here. Ooh, 321 Tie Guy's on. I'm not sure if I've ever rated him, but if I have, it's been a long time. Tie Guy has a few retro gaming records of his own, and he's been really good about helping me get my scores verified through Twin Galaxies. So, and he's rated me a few times. So yeah, let's go throw a raid to him this evening. Once again, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. And we can look forward to our next Metal Gear game starting tomorrow. For now, this is Thunderfist 1978, signing off.